What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Headbanger Sports. My name is Bobby O'Neill and I'm the pitching guy. And today's topic, we're going to be going over your arm path, which is actually one of the number one things that I struggled with the most in my professional career. So I'm really excited about this one. So today we're going to be going over a couple different phases of your arm path and kind of how it syncs up to your body. And I'm going to be showing you a couple of the most common areas where youth athletes and high school athletes and even college athletes mess up with this the most. Okay, so the first area that we're going to go over in your arm path has to do with how your hand breaks out of the glove. Now this is one of the most important ones, so pay close attention here. When your hand is coming out of the glove, we want to make sure that your fingers get on top of the ball as early as possible, because that sets the stage for your arm to start moving in the correct sequence. Now, when I played professionally, this is the area that I struggled with, and this is the area that I had no idea what I was doing, so I was kind of in the dark here. When your hand moves with your fingers on the side of the ball, watch how the elbow stays tucked and close to the body, and the hand begins to do all of the work to create space away from your rib cage here. When you move in that sequence, you can still get up into a healthy, efficient position going into foot strike, but you have to work really hard, and the variables become a lot more frequent and a lot more dynamic, and it becomes a lot harder for you to properly time this up every single time. So consistency is going to decrease, amount of stress on the arm is going to increase, and it just makes it really hard for you to compete at a high level while doing that ball dominant movement. So the alternative to that is to, once again, get your fingers on top of the ball. If your fingers are getting on top of the ball, that sets the stage for your hand to kind of delay a little bit, and it allows your elbow to begin to get ahead of that sequence, and it allows your shoulder and your elbow to begin to move your hand away from the rib cage and away from the glove and into a more efficient position where you're able to connect up to the shoulder plane. Now the shoulder plane is vital to everything that we do as pitchers. The shoulder plane, I'm going to identify that really quick and define it, defines where your shoulders sit in relation to one another and in relation to your spine. The goal is to get all of your joints in line with that shoulder plane. So as you begin to move up into this position, we're trying to connect your shoulder and your elbow and even your wrist on your glove side here to the shoulder plane, and we're trying to mirror that image on the throwing side to get everything secured to the shoulder plane. Now, if we are approaching foot strike and we are landing with your hand beneath the shoulder plane when you're securing the ground with your front foot, that is really bad on your shoulder and your elbow. We want to make sure we do not do that. With everything in you, do not land with your arm down here. Now, in the same regards, if we're going into front foot strike and your hand is parallel here and it's flat to the ground, that's an issue as well, because now you look like you're trying to punch someone in the face. And if you're punching someone in the face while you're pitching, that's probably not good on your hand. But also, it does put a lot of stress on your shoulder because it doesn't allow your arm to properly sequence into layback. That layback position that we're looking for here is the number one way to keep stress off of your arm. So how do we create layback? What's a good position for your hand to be at when we land? When you go to hit the ground with your front foot, we want your elbow and your shoulder connected to the shoulder plane. You should probably be pulled back and opening up your chest a little bit, and your hand should begin to climb up above the shoulder plane while the elbow maintains its position here against the shoulder. Somewhere in the 45 to 90 degree angle up here is what you're working for when it goes into front foot strike. As the front foot hits the ground and the hand is coming up into this position, you also want to simultaneously be rotating your lower half, because at foot strike, that's kind of the area where your body is in neutral. From that position is where we want to start stepping on the gas. So if we can imagine your lower half being the driving force that is getting your body to explode towards the target, if your arm is in an inefficient position, whether it's down here or right here, and your lower body is firing, that's where some of the joints get into a collision course with your body. If we can get you to land with your arm up here, what's going to happen is your torso is going to begin to follow your lower half, and that lower half is going to drive your torso into position, which is going to allow your torso to square up to the target. And while you're squaring up to the target, your arm is essentially going to get left behind, the same way a passenger gets kind of left behind when you step on the gas in your Tesla. You want to get that pullback sensation with your arm, which is what drives layback. Layback is temporary. It is a momentary leave behind, followed up by an explosive acceleration through the whip of your arm. If you can think about your arm whipping like that, that whipping sound is your arm accelerating past your face. So the second thing I like to talk about with arm path is kind of defining where the hand should be in relation to the body as you're moving up into that whip window. So take off your glove really quick and put your throwing hand into that position where your fingers are beginning to get on top of the ball. Now with your glove hand, I want you to put your glove hand on your throwing elbow. Now without moving your glove hand, what I want you to do is begin to initiate your hand movement of your throwing arm, and notice that the hand wants to follow the elbow into that exact position it was at before. This is gonna vary per individual, but as a general rule, if your hand is following your elbow, you're gonna flow through a very similar path that your elbow is. Even if your hand gets wide out this way, it's still going to follow the pattern of the elbow as the elbow begins to climb up to the shoulder plane. So whether you're breaking and instantly going into that position like a catcher or a shortstop, or a pitcher who has a lot more time to get down the slope before they climb up to shoulder height, regardless of what it is, at some point, the hand is going to retrace the position that the elbow gets to. And finally, the last thing that I want to go over is the tension of your hand while you're working on making an adjustment with your arm path. If you're gripping your hand really tight, trying to force a pattern, you're most likely going to be flexing the muscles around your rotator cuff and the muscles in your forearm, which is going to put stress on your joints that I do not want you to do. So we need to make sure that when you're doing this pattern readjustments or you're remapping these patterns, what we want to be looking for is a loose, relaxed hand that is in neutral. Now we're not stepping on the gas, we're not cranking on the brakes, we're sitting in neutral, we're relaxed, your neck is relaxed, your shoulders relaxed, your elbows relaxed, your bicep, tricep, everything, all the way down to the fingertips is relaxed. This is the tip of the whip. This is the last thing through the pattern, so it should be the loosest. If you can think about Indiana Jones for a second, you can think about him cracking the whip at the end, that tip of the whip, that last thing through that makes the snapping sound, that's the thing that's going along for the ride. You want to think about your arm being that tip of the whip and the hand being the last thing into extension that snaps through at the finish, that snaps that ball out of your fingertips. The tip of the whip on Indiana Jones's whip is not up here tense, it's relaxed. We want to flip into this position with a relaxed shoulder and a relaxed elbow. My favorite saying when I'm talking to athletes about this for the first time is tense muscles do not move fast. So make sure your muscles are loose, make sure that you are following your elbow with your hand, and make sure that when you're doing this out of the glove, you don't go really stiff and tense trying to force it, and you don't rush out of there. These are the few things that I hope that some of you guys take into consideration when you're considering some of the areas that you may be struggling with or some of the areas you feel like you need to do to evolve yourself as an athlete. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to hit me up on social media. I'm Bobby O'Neill 37 on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. And feel free to follow along with future videos here on Headbanger Sports. We'll be going over a lot of topics similar to this. Feel free to hit me up in the DMs or just leave a comment below. Take care, guys. God bless.